Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Dance Teacher Pep Talk. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so glad you are here. This is a space for dance teachers and anyone interested in teaching dance who is looking for motivation and fresh ideas. As teachers, we spend our days motivating and giving pep talks to our students, and now this podcast is a pep talk just for you. We hope that it helps to ignite new ideas and even work through some deep dance related thoughts before you head into the studio. Thank you for your support, and now let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Happy March. I hope that you are all having a wonderful start to the month. This week's episode is our monthly kickoff where I sort of just talk on different ideas that may help us in the month ahead. And so I do one of these for every month. And for this month in March, I'm really highlighting on the season of spring because in the Northern Hemisphere, we have our first day of spring, March 20th. And depending on where you live, sometimes spring isn't always flowers and green grass. Sometimes it is still snowstorms, but I guess we'll see what happens when we get there. And I really do want to say that I love the season of spring. I don't know if it's because my birthday is in the spring or what it is, but I just love the feeling of warmth and growth and all of that after a cold and gray winter. I've said this before, but I really do love all of the seasons. I feel like living in New England, it gives you such an appreciation for every season because right when you've had enough of a season, a new one is coming. And, after you've had enough winter, spring is on its way. And after you are tired of the heat of summer, it cools down for fall. So I do absolutely love that about living in New England. So anyways, getting back into today's March topic, I love the idea of spring. There's something so fresh about spring. It's like when I think of spring, I really do think of that word fresh. I think of renewal. I feel this sense of opening and readiness for warmth to arrive, and even just the fact of being able to open up the windows I feel is huge. I love that, like that fresh air. Cleaning is going to be a big part of today's topic, but I just love that feeling. And so I guess I should stop rambling about my love for spring and get into the topics a little bit deeper. But as I mentioned, something that I really enjoy about the spring season is the idea of spring cleaning. Now, you can do spring cleaning at any time of year, but today's episode, I really wanted to get specific into how we can spring clean our dance teacher lives. Now, I know this is also a really busy season, so we might not necessarily have time to do a big spring clean in our dance teacher lives and our studio lives and things like that, because a lot of us may have your competition season running. Maybe you're really gearing up for recital and end of the year things. Maybe you're really preparing and starting to market for your summer programs. There is so much going on. And so I understand that sometimes spring cleaning could be a daunting task. It's one of those feelings where like you look at the room and you just see everywhere and every place that you could start, but you have no idea where to start. And once you do get into that area, sometimes it takes way longer to clean out that section than you thought. And so today I'm going to kind of go into some tips about how we can break this down. Because aside of all of this, I am currently moving. We are moving houses right now. And this has been such a great time for me to really clean out and organize what it is that I want to hold on to, what it is that I haven't really used much of, and things like that. And just really making choices of what is coming along and what is not. And it really got me thinking a lot about just my dance teaching life in general and the areas that I really need to clean out in that. And you may also need these reminders as well. So starting off with, if it's the studio space and it's really daunting to like look at it as a whole, where to clean certain areas, maybe take one space or one room or one area to focus on per week. So you're not like necessarily trying to declutter and organize everything in one day, but we're just looking at it from one space at a time. So say you have, the lobby area. working on things there. Maybe there's different decorations you want to change up. Maybe the trophies that you have accumulated from years and years and years of competition, maybe we look through those. Do we need to keep all of these? Is there something else that we can do with them? How much space are they taking up, and where can we shift and change this? Maybe one week you tackle your prop and costume closet, going through it. Are there things that we're using? Are there things that we need to move around and shift? Are there things that we can donate? Are there things that we can put up for sale? There's so many different things that we sort of tend to neglect over the years because it's easier to just put it aside than to actually take the time to go through it and organize. And at least that's what I'm speaking on from personal experience, from this experience of moving. So yes, my recommendation, studio-wise, don't feel like you need to clean it all in one day. Maybe taking one room per week and really looking at, okay, what needs to remain and what needs to leave. Because we have so much else going on. How do we have time to fit in this additional organizing that we don't even have time for week to week? So an idea on how to do that there. Now, for dance teachers, our whole lives, there are so many areas that we can look at for our cleaning, our spring cleaning. And so one of the things that I noticed when I was moving is the amount of notebooks that I have. I have saved stacks and stacks of notebooks, pamphlets, workbooks from teacher workshops, competition programs. Competition programs. All of these things, like I have accumulated so much, and it's like, do I really need to hold on to this competition program from such and such a year? Am I still going to be using this notebook from 2010? Is there something in it that's valuable? So taking a look at the notebooks that we have, and truly, when I was going through mine, I found so much inspiring content. I was like, oh, I forgot about that warm up, or oh, I forgot about that exercise, or even like content ideas, music ideas, choreography concepts that I would write down in notebooks. There were so many things that I found that I was like, oh, I should implement this again. And it really like re-inspired me. And I wasn't even really in a lull, but like it really pushed me to try to use some of the older things that I did. So yes, going through your notebooks, and the same thing on your computer, going through your files. Do you have years and years of files on your computer? Have you opened up any of them in recent times? And if you have, which ones are the ones you are using the most? Because maybe from year to year, you translate a lot of the work or material that you're doing from year to year. So it just becomes almost like a copy and paste and then edit in depending on like what your students' needs are for that year. So say you have like your standard syllabus for ballet level 5, and you have that, and then you have your class notes from the previous year. Are you taking that into this new year and then making shifts and changes where you need to based on the student group that you have in front of you this year? Or have you done this for multiple years and now you're left with like 7 years of ballet level 5 class? It's like basically the same file. How can we go back and clean some of that up? So cleaning through our computer files, and along the lines too of computer files, maybe going into your iTunes. I do like keeping my old playlist. I think it's fun because for me, sometimes when I'm in a lull or I need a different shift in energy, one of the quickest ways to help me get out of that is actually to go back to an older playlist, because it just kind of like re-sparks my thoughts and ideas, and I don't feel like I'm caught in the monotony of my week to week same playlist, same music that I've been using for this year. So I do like to save my playlist, but maybe go back and see, are there playlists that you can delete? Are there playlists that you can merge? Are there songs in some of these playlists that you have forgotten about that you need to double check on and add to your most current playlist? So it's a great way that you can incorporate a spring cleaning idea into your dance teaching life. Another way too is going through your emails. I always get that message from Gmail, like you're really approaching the end of your storage, and how I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many videos in my emails, because sometimes I would send the videos out to dancers and didn't do it in text groups before or things like that. Sometimes I have things that just like really hold up a lot of space because maybe of the attachments or things like that. Maybe I have critiques in my email inbox. And so that is something that, I'm going back and it's like, okay, 2017. All right, let's go through these. I don't need these critiques anymore. And the dancer who needed them already received them. So, okay, delete these, delete some of these, older attachments that really don't pertain anymore. I don't need this event schedule anymore. Okay, going through that. And again, these are big tasks. So kind of like the studio task, maybe taking it week by week. So like in this week of March, my goal is to clean out years such and such to such and such for playlists and emails. or whatnot. Like you can go through there, computer files as well, and just free up some space, because spring, like I said, it's such a fresh season. It's such a time for a new start. And this is a great way to head into your end of year with a really fresh and clean feeling with your computer, which I'm sure, if you're like me, is something that goes with you to work every day and is a huge part of your work. So cleaning it up, creating space. Okay, so let's just review for a moment here. We have talked about spring cleaning for our notebooks, our iTunes playlists or Spotify playlists, Apple playlists, whatever it is that you have, going through your emails, going through, another one. Let's go to our phones. We're talking about all these different areas. We've got our computer, now we got our phone. And I have so many videos of rehearsal footage, things that I like sometimes forget to delete. So I'll go back in and I'll be like, oh, this was from months ago. They already have this. I don't need this. Delete that. So going through your videos, going through pictures too, just kind of organizing your phone up a little bit, because like I mentioned with my Gmail storage, if anything, you always need more storage. And so let's head in and delete some of those things that are no longer important to us or no longer needed, So like they don't need that video from August 20th with the start of our choreography, because I've already sent them a whole choreography video of the dance being done and cleaning notes on it. So heading back, deleting some of those things. And you can also do the same thing with your text messages. I have group texts on my phone from last year competition season, and we're heading into a new season, so maybe it's time to delete those old ones and again free up space. I think one of the big things here is about freeing up space and finding areas where we can really clean up our lives, because when we have this clean slate, it really helps us when we're heading into this busy season, or even during this busy season. Like if you're out at competition every weekend, if you have recital stuff that you're preparing and show stuff that you're getting ready for, like the last thing you really want to worry about is like jamming up your files, jamming up your storage. You really want to make sure that you're going into these big events and these big seasons as clear-headed as you can. And sometimes for me, clutter, like physical clutter, digital clutter, whatever it is that you want to have as clutter, it can really like bog up my energy, because all I see is like this mess in a way. And what I really want is for things to be clean and organized. I'm a very clean and organized person to begin with. And so to me, it's really important. And I like to have things in order so that when I'm going to these busy weekends and I'm going to all these different things, everything is just in place and I don't have to worry about every little thing and coordinating everything, because it's already pretty much organized. Another thought too for dance teachers simplifying your life at this time would be, if you are going out to competition weekends, making sure that maybe you have like a specific grocery list for your competition weekends. So I know that my weekly groceries look very different during competition season than they do during just regular life, regular season. So I know my grocery list during competition season looks way different than like a regular week, because I'm adding in the things that I'm needing over the weekend. So maybe there's additional snacks that I'm getting. Maybe there's easier meal prep things that I'm doing, maybe even like down to the drinks that I'm bringing. Like maybe I like to bring like a special seltzer or something like that, things that help you through your day, your competition day. And maybe having sort of like a set grocery list for that you're tagging onto your weekly groceries as it is. And maybe too on the home front, maybe you're doing meals that are easier to meal prep or easier to like create bigger amounts of servings, so that like you don't have to worry about cooking dinner every single day. You're only cooking dinners say like Monday and Wednesday, or whatever schedule it is that you want, but then you're having those leftovers on the Tuesday or the Thursday or whatnot. Just simplifying where you can, because it is a busy time and you are going and going and going. And if there's anything you can do to make that easier on you, I highly suggest that. A lot of the time on Dance Teacher Pep Talk, we also talk about how we can make the season more magical for our students. And I know for them, cleaning might not sound like the most magical, but there are so many other things that we can do during the spring season to celebrate, whether it's prompts in our improv that are spring inspired, or different music that we're using, different ideas that we're working with. I think we can bring that freshness and light into our classroom spaces this season. Something that I always do that is a lot of fun for myself and for the dancers is ahead of competition season, like say it's our week out before our first event, I always use competition songs from previous years as my class music for that day. So like I'll go back, I already have like a competition playlist with throwback songs from previous competition seasons and things like that. And so it's just a fun way because the dancers are reminiscent about the past competition experiences, and it also peps them up as we're heading into a brand new season of competition. You can even do this too on your weeks of, maybe you're already deep in your competition season and you want to do something that brings a spark or more life into your classroom, because let's be real, if those dancers are dancing late on Sunday and then you have them for Monday class, it's really hard to get them feeling ready to dance. And so maybe adding those songs in may add just like a little bit of a different spin on the class or a little more life to the start of your class. So I highly recommend doing that. It's so much fun, and it always brings back such great memories too. So in this month of March, if there are things that you can do to clean up, to simplify, and to re-energize your space, your time, and your classes, I highly recommend it. And don't forget to follow the Instagram page at Dance Teacher Pep Talk, because weekly I share class content that you can use to inspire new ideas in your classroom or to just spark up some new thoughts. So you always want to be looking out for that. So I want to thank you all so much for your support and listens of this podcast. And if you feel inspired by this, I'd love it if you would share it with a friend or colleague. I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead, and I hope that these tips help you as you begin your spring season. Happy March, everybody.